I know many of you are thinking, oh, thank goodness I'm not speaking. Because I'm barely together, people. I'm like, I put makeup on today. And I'm like, honestly, I don't even have the words to say how my heart feels. And it has been an amazing weekend. I mean, first of all, people have made us food. And it's been good food. And we just walk in and sit down and say, hey, can you pass the potatoes? Thank you so much. Could you pass the water? Thank you so much. We don't even have to clean it up. The people come up, right? If you get nothing else but to be able to come and sleep in and have someone make your food, I don't care what it is. It's amazing because I didn't make it and I don't have to clean it up. But we have been encouraged and inspired. And we've had lots of gal times, and lots of you love the hot springs. I'm not a hot springs person, but I love all of you that are. Have at it. It's been beautiful weather. We have talked, we have prayed, we have, peered into each other's eyes. We've given hugs, we've walked, done all these things. And God has just filled up our souls. You've had a nap. Some of you have had naps, which is beautiful. A beautiful thing. And no laundry. We don't have to do the laundry. Now, truth be told, when you get home, you're going to have laundry. Because that's just how it rolls. But for here, you don't have laundry. And, that communion, it really is what it's all about. That's why you came. I feel like God gave us a Psalm 23 kind of time where your hearts are renewed and it's restored and it's refreshed and you feel like, I got this! Until you walk in the door. But right now you feel like, I totally got this, God! It's amazing! And that's God's gift to you. And I know all the thank yous are coming, but I love you, Tracy Minor.
Yeah.
And Jay, and all the worship people, and all the teachers, and Karen Chan, and everybody that served, the button pushers, everybody who prayed and put something into this for you, so that you could have this time where you can just sit and be with God, and it's an amazing thing. And so now we go, okay, so, we could have gone home Friday night. It's like, I'm going to come back again, because Friday night was amazing, let's keep going. And then there's Saturday and all the classes, and then all the conversations, and Michelle last night. Michelle is always my hero. Michelle has always been my hero for many, many years. And she and her family, who I love and adore. And I'm super inspired and super proud of Michelle. But now we've got to figure out, what am I going to do? I got to go home, and here's the thing. I know it's because it's 11:48. I'm looking right at this clock. And you're going, okay, well, we're done by 1.
Okay.
And I've got dinner, and we may have homework, and I may have to pick something up at the store, and I have work to do. And did so-and-so get their stuff done? Well, I'm going to have to call them and check in. So your mind is already going. It's already going. I want to ask you, just for a few more minutes, just to kind of stay here. Just to kind of stay here for a few more minutes. Before you put on your Wonder Woman Supermama cape. Let's chat for a few minutes about how do we return well? How do we take all this sweet light that God's given us and bring it home and let it shine in our families? And we know we're all jumping into real stuff. We got, it's emotional things, it's physical things, it's spiritual things, and it's all at the same time. And if you've got more than one kid, you're like, because that's what it feels like. Because you're like, I'd like to walk in gradually. I want music. I want a montage. I want all this stuff. It's probably not going to happen, but I think it's great that you think that you want that. So, I want to tell you, here are my heaven gifts. These are my people. That's my guy Kevin. We've been married 36 and a half years. I know. That's a very long time. This is my other angel gal. This is Kennedy, our youngest, who is 23. And the other girl next to her is my other angel gal, Tori, who is 28. And at the end is my beautiful, amazing, wonderful son-in-law, Derek Daria Hinton II. And we didn't even know what we missed and what we needed until Derek kind of popped into our lives. And I tell you, he's just God's gift to our family. He's just a bundle of joy and invention and creativity. And the thing that I love him most for is he loves God and he loves people and he loves my daughter. He can do no wrong in my eyes because he speaks fluent Tory and I'm like, I love you. He's amazing. And the other thing is there are women in this room that have loved my daughters. I can't cry anymore because I got to keep going. Who have loved my daughters since they were babies. You have babysat them. You've been camp counselors. You've talked with them in the courtyard. You've studied the Bible with them. Your soul prints are all over my family, and you know who you are. If I start naming people, then I'm gonna forget. But I want to say thank you. And really, when you're talking about raising children, I forgot I had another picture. These are my girls. When you're talking about raising children, it's a together thing. And this time this weekend, you get to soak up all this mom love and wisdom and what did you do and how did you do that? And I learned that and oh man, that happened to me too. And come on, you can do it. All those things. Let's pray, let's cry, whatever we need to do. Because when you're doing this as a mom, you need a lot of people around you to help. And being a mom is one of the most amazing things that God has ever allowed me to do. I love it. It is the hardest thing that I've ever done. Because my girls, and I love them both, and they're beautiful. This picture does not depict all the conversations that we've had in my home to get to this picture. It doesn't depict that. It doesn't, to me, motherhood is all this. It's trusting, it's praying, it's surrendering, it's crying, it's celebrating, and you keep it on repeat. You keep it on repeat. It's trusting, surrendering, and crying, and praying, and asking God, and then you do it all again. And and I'm way past, I love all the young mamas, but I'm way past all the nighttime feedings and, all of that, and teething and biting and sharing and all. And I'm way past that super fascinating, very hard to describe stage of middle school and the teenage years. It's just a mystery, people. You have to get through it. It's just a mystery. I'm going to tell you right now, whatever you're doing a great job. Just keep it going. Tracy will tell you this. I would get all excited and like, I've got a plan. I've got a plan for Tori. I've got a plan for Kitty. And then it became this running joke. Well, I'm on plan number 795. And it got shut down in 30 seconds. But you just kind of keep going. And and I've enjoyed wherever you are, you enjoy every single stage of your mother because you're not going back. You're only having that baby one time. You're only having that toddler one time. You may have another toddler, or you may have another preteen, or you may never have another person that's a college student, but you will never have that particular child at that particular stage again. So you enjoy it. I enjoy it. Now, it's tiring, and we all know this. But I loved every single stage, and I celebrated every single stage. So right now, we're celebrating our friendship, and I love how God has allowed me to have that. I love that God allows me. We have this gift that we're all in the same ministry in Turning Point. So God has given me this gift of watching Him pour into them, and I go, wow, that's amazing. Now, I'm not the number one person anymore. I'm not the head coach. I'm not the lead trainer. I'm not the number one. I am the number one support, though. Because there's a difference when you have adult kids, because you're with them, but you're not. You got to turn that mom button down. If you've got adult kids, turn it down. You can't speak into every single thing that's going on in their lives. But I am the number one fan, and I'm the number one support. And along the way, God has taught me so much. He's taught me what it is to love. He's taught me what it is to persevere. He's taught me what it is to give, because these little angelic people that God gives you, they hurt your feelings. And they have no idea that they hurt your feelings, and you're just soul crushed. You're just soul crushed. I did all that, and wow, I'm sad. And then I think I'm mad. But I've learned a lot. If you haven't get there, you will. But I think God has taught me a lot about forgiveness. And we're in this for the long haul. When we're talking about renewing and returning well, this is we're going to talk today about the big vision, because you're in this for the long haul. It's not just till they graduate, or it's not like when they get out of middle school. You're in this for their lifetime. And it's a gift because God is giving you this opportunity. Whether your child is born of your heart or born of your body, God said, you know what, I'm going to give these souls to you. Yeah. I love you, and I believe in you, and I'm going to give these souls to you. Now, I know you're going to mess up, because we all mess up, but I have a vision for what this family is going to be. So when we're thinking about how am I going to go back, because you're already thinking, well, what did I learn? And I hope that you're thinking that, what did I learn? God, what did you speak to my heart to this weekend? Yeah. What moved my heart? What made me cry? What made me think? What kind of went, ugh? What was that? What nudged you? What did you see? What did you hear? What did the creation say to you? God is saying things to you, and so you should already be thinking about that. But before we go, and as we're thinking about that, I want to take a few minutes and look at the first mama in the Bible. I want to look at Eve. And hopefully we can glean a few things about returning well. And I know that's probably not the mom. When we think of moms that we want to talk about, we normally don't think of Eve. Yeah. Because what do we think about? We think about her first mistake that is forever seared in our minds, right? Forever, her biggest mistake changed everything. But God still said, you are the second being that I created. You were the first wife, the first mom, the first daughter. Her name means living, to give life and to live. And when we talk about being a mom, sometimes we do talk about our mistakes a lot. But I think sometimes we look at our lens of being a mom through our mistakes versus the gift that God's given it. And I know that her choice forever changed everything. But we also know that God said, that's not the end. From the beginning of the garden, he said, even with this, I still have a plan of redemption. I still have a way for us to connect. The enemy uses your mistakes to kind of always keep that whispering in your head, like, you'll never overcome it, you'll never change it, you'll never be different. Yeah. But the thing that I love about Eve and her relationship with God, the first dad and the first daughter. The first dad and the first daughter. That he walked with her in the garden. That he listened to her stories. We don't talk about that fact. We don't talk about the fact that in Genesis 1:28, where God told Adam and Eve to go and be fruitful and multiply, they did that. They had another son, Seth. Adam lived to be 930 years old. And in that time, the Bible simply says in Genesis 5 and verse 3, that they had other sons and daughters. Obviously, her choice, the first broken family. Most of us aren't navigating that our one child killed the other child. Most of us aren't navigating that. How do you overcome that hurt? But in her time, in her son Seth's time, in Genesis 4:26, it says, at that time, people first began to call on the name of the Lord. And so I don't know how this goes. It doesn't say. But other sons and daughters probably came from Eve. More than Seth. And if it's just Seth, then Seth's line, through his line, people began to call on God. I wonder how many stories that Adam and Eve told these other sons and daughters about God. The lessons about the serpent, the hardships that happened after the banishment, overcoming all the fear and the joy when she found out she was pregnant again. What do you think that felt like? But she had the wonder of having these two little boys, Cain and Abel. She was pregnant, she carried them, she delivered them, she nursed them, she walked with them. She saw one go to the fields and one go to the animals. She was there for all that. We just pick up in the story when it was bad. And it was bad. But we just pick up in that story. But there were years in there where she was being a mom to those guys. She lived long enough, I think, to see God's protection and his redemption of her story. We all have similarities. Eves. We are her daughters. And you are the Eves of your family. You are the beginning of life and your legacy. We all have joys and sorrow, but God has given you this gift of being the beginning of your family. So as we're talking about returning well, I want to give us 4 things. First one is, remember to celebrate your joys. So I think, again, I think we forget that she walked with God in the garden. It was full of joy and friendship and wonder. It was close. It was close. Okay, I'm totally in love with these new songs, Communion and Refiner. I have listened to them on repeat. My roommate wasn't here this morning, so I just listened to it on repeat for like an hour. I go to one, play twice, go play. But the lyrics of these songs. He says, we're returning to the place we always belong. This is where I'm meant to be. Me and you and you and me. You are the Eve in your family. You walk in your garden. You celebrate your joys. Wherever and whenever that is, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, sometimes when you're a mom, you don't think that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Because all you see that I'm messy, and I've messed up, and this is hard, and I'm tired, and I don't want to do this anymore. Can someone else be the mom? You know that stage? When you're like, I can't wait till they talk. It's gonna be so great. They're gonna say my name. They said mom. And then my kids got older, I'm like, there's another adult person who lives here that has 3 letters in their name. His name is Dad. Why does no one else call Dad? One of my sweet angel girls, when she figured out how to use the phone, I would go to the store or something, and she'd call me and she goes, "Can I have a snack?" And I'm like, "No, she's very small. We're talking elementary school." I'm like, "Why are you? Is your dad there?" I know that I've left you with a responsibility for me. Why are you calling me? She goes, "Oh no, Dad's here." I said, "But baby, why are you calling me? I just wanted to talk to you, and I just wanted to ask you for a snack." And I love that about you. You can ask your dad. You can ask your dad. But that whole thing, I don't know, I got. But that whole thing, we're so happy about, say my name, and then you're like, can someone else, I have another name. But I think this week as you go home, as you're celebrating your joys, I want you to think about what God's given you this week.
Yeah.
And reflect on the garden of your life. Reflect on what He gave you. Reflect on what He's teaching you. Reflect on where He's nudging you. And He's with you in this season of being a mom. Your children are not the only ones that are fearfully and wonderfully made. You started out being fearfully and wonderfully made. It doesn't change when you become a mom. You are still that person. You are enough. Whatever the magazines say, whatever the TV shows say, whatever social media says, whatever the blog says, you are enough. God gave those children to you. All I have is my 2. That's enough. Where's Tracy? The other Tracy has 6 children. I think that's amazing. And I have no idea how that even happens. I mean, how she's able to do that. That's amazing. But but you celebrate. God says you are enough, and He gave you the children. Here's the thing. He knows all about you. He knows all about you. He was with you when you were a teen. He was with you when you were in high school. He was with you when you were in college. He was with you when you said those vows. Yeah. He knows you without the makeup. He knows you without the shower. I appreciate the showering. He knows you when you're just in your car crying. He knows you when you're on the floor. And He still says, you're enough. Here you go. I'm giving these kids to you. So you got to celebrate every season. The days are long and the years are really, really short. It is shocking to me that my girls are 28 and 23. I have no idea. It's shocking to me. But life is a myth, and it goes by just that fast. So when you talk about celebrating yours, how are you going to do that? You're going to do it by giving thanks. Now, to me, when I think about giving thanks, to me, in my mind, being thankful is different than giving thanks. Because being thankful is like, I'm going to be thankful. I'm going to be thankful. But giving thanks is very intentional. It's very intentional. You walk in and you go, I'm really thankful. And when you go, you have the dream life. You have a dream life. You are a mom. Amen. There are millions of women who want to be moms. Whether it's bio of the heart, they want to be a mom. They want to have what you have. The good, the bad, the ugly. You are living the dream. And God is leading you and teaching you and nudging you to shape all those little kids that are entrusted to you. And no matter how old your kids are, they are always going to look to you to give them hope and encouragement, acceptance, and words of wisdom. Derek and Tori and Kenny, I'm like, you're doing a great job. That's what Tracy said. You're doing a great job. You are doing a great job adulting. You're doing a great job. Man, that's complex. You did a great job navigating it. And they always go, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. They're 28, 23. Tori got married. I went over to her house, and she made us dinner. I'm like, you did such a great job with dinner. The setting looked beautiful. I loved the food. I love how you decorate. I love all these things. You're doing a fantastic job. She's never been a wife before. I mean, she's 6 years in, so she has not. But, they've never been where they are. We have an expectation for them to be someone where they're not. We have an expectation for us to be someone where we're not. You are where you are. This is the first time we've lived this day. Right? It's the first time we lived this day. So what are you going to do with that? So when you go home, and remember, because with your kids, as they grow older, particularly with your adult kids, adulting is hard. So help them along. Of course you know how to do it. You're old. You've done it before. They never have. So tell them you're doing a great job. So when you get home and you walk in, your house may or may not be clean. It's all good. You're going to give thanks that you're going to a home. And if you've got littles, they're probably all going to run out and just hug your knees and hug your neck, and it's going to be great, and you're going to give thanks for that. You're going to give thanks, extra thanks to hubby, because he's been watching those lovely angelic children for 3 days now. So he's probably texting you like, exactly what time are you coming home? I got to go. What time are you coming home? Are you in the car? You know, with your middle school and your high school kids, it's pretty much 50-50 what kind of greeting you're going to get. I mean, you know, it's 50-50. I don't think you're going to get the, you're not going to get the running down the street. I mean, maybe your kids will do that. Mine never did. But the idea of they're going to, if they acknowledge your presence, which is a big deal. I can't say that, you know, it's like, I'm not asking much, but you're going to need to say hello to me. We've had that discussions in my home. I'm not asking much. I'm going to need a hello, and I'm going to need a how are you. That's just kindness. That's just being a human. Your middle schoolers and high schoolers may give you something of that. But whatever that is, you go, these are my people. I love them. And I will tell you that it circles back. Because middle school and high school, they're just trying to figure out who they are. They can't figure out, am I like my mom? Am I like my dad? Do I want to be like my mom? Do I want to like my dad? I like that. I don't like that. I want to be this person that lives in Timbuktu. This is who I think is great. And then mixed in that, they're trying to figure out who Jesus is. So really, you know this. You have about 5 or 6 personalities that you encounter with your middle schooler, teenage kid throughout the day. Because who I said hello to in the morning is not the same person I'm saying goodnight to. I'm just saying. I got dizzy. I would get dizzy, and Kev would come home, and I'm like, dude, it is so your turn. I'm like, I can't. It's so your turn. Okay, but you know, so whatever it is you have, your house is clean, your house is not. There's food, there's no food. Whatever it is, you walk in and you give thanks because you're living a dream life. Amen. Number 2, remember that God will walk you through the hard seasons. Amen. The seasons of frustration, disappointment, regret, sadness, sorrow, and ruin. Seasons of frustration, disappointment, regret, sadness, sorrow, and ruin. God's going to walk you through it all. This part of Eve's story we are familiar with. We so know this, right? We know she was tempted by the fruit. She ate it. She gave some to Adam. They were banished, and then they had to work for a living. But the greatest cost is they no longer got to walk with God in the garden in person. You know, we've talked about this gift that she had with watching her 2 little Adams grow in her womb and watching them learn life skills. And, you know, and then at some point when your kids start getting older, you realize that they have different hearts for things. You realize that, you know, Tracy and I would call it the chip. You realize that if you got more than one kid, there's probably a kid in your family that has the chip. And what I mean by that, it's the spiritual chip, where they just get it. From I don't know why. They just understand God more. Their faith is easier to grow. They have a different sense of people. And then you have other children that it takes a little bit more to get their faith growing. I'm telling you, my kids got to the age of middle school and high school, I was like, I don't even know what faith is anymore. What is faith? What is faith? How do you give them faith? How do you show them the invisible God? How do you get that deep? Because I'm like, but it's here. It's here. But when they're in middle school and high school, they don't always get that it's here. Yeah. They get there. But in the meantime, you're holding on and trying to figure out faith. And so I would think that because Eve's a mom like us, that she realized that maybe one of my kids don't love God as much as the other. Yeah. And you have that mom ache. And for some of you, when your kids are older, that's a forever mom ache. As you see your kids grow and they are wandering or they're prodigals or different things. It's a mom ache that really doesn't go away. You know, and at the same time, I think she's wrestling for that choice that I made. I made this choice, and now I'm forever here. And when I think of Eve, I think, how did she move past the sorrow? How did she move past the sorrow? The what ifs. Mamas, we all have these parenting sorrows where we go, what if? What if I hadn't done that? What if I'd done this? If only I hadn't done this. What are your what ifs and if onlys that rumble around in your hearts and minds? Because usually the what ifs and the what onlys are accompanied by fear and worry and regret. And older mamas, we know this a little bit more. How much heartache did she bear? How long did she cry? How long did she wrestle? It doesn't have, the Bible doesn't mention that it took, what toil it took on her marriage, but you gotta think that was some conflict with she and Adam. How do they work that out? Mamas, God is close to the brokenhearted. He collects our tears in a bottle. And we all have times when we think, I ruined my kid for life. And it's more than a day, and it's more than a week, and it's more than a month. And we go, I've ruined my kids for life. And then as your kids are growing up, and then God is teaching you stuff, right? God is teaching you, and He's growing you, and He's stretching you, and He's putting all these things and people and situations in your place. And you kind of wish that you could be like a spiritual Mary Poppins and just do it all great. Be practically perfect in every way. Fewer things feel worse on this planet than when your sinful nature hurts your kids. Fewer things feel worse than that when you hurt this little angel soul that God gave you. And it's a complex time when God is growing you and your kids at the same time. Because every season of your motherhood, God's growing you and He's growing your kids. So it's always a stretching kind of thing. And you know, I know that some of you are in these seasons of chaotic peace is what I call. Because if you have kids, it's never going to be 100% peaceful. But if it's mostly good, then that's kind of chaotic peace, right? Because it's mostly good, because it's never all going to be like just one thing. And other times, you know, you're in these hard seasons where it's nothing but the silent prayers, and it's nothing but silent time with God. I can't even pray. I can't even pray. I don't even know. I read, I heard you walking in the garden, and that's all I got today. And you just said, so what do? Here's our hope. He says, I love this scripture in 1 John 3:20. He says, whenever our hearts make us feel guilty and remind us of our failures, we know that God is much greater and more merciful than our conscience, and He knows everything there is to know about us. God is greater and more merciful than all your thoughts and all your worries and all the voices of disappointment and regrets and the expectations of what you thought and what the kind of mom that you thought you would be. Your heart is so heavy with that. But God says, I got you here. Whatever makes you feel guilty reminds you of your failures. God is greater than that. And He's more merciful than that. Amen. You know, the thing that I love about in the garden too, it says even after the fruit, and God's walking in the garden, He's looking for them, and He's asking, you know, who made you naked? You know, how did you know you were naked? His first response was one of compassion. There were consequences because they stepped out. He made them close. He made them close. There's a million other things He could have done. There's a million other things He could have said. There's a million other ways He could have responded. But He met that first felt big need, like, they're so embarrassed. They're so full of shame. Okay, God knows it's a hard thing. God knows we got other things to do, but I'm going to ease this thing for you right now. I'm going to make it close. I don't know how He did it, but it says He did it. You know, God didn't change her name. You know in the Bible how God changes names? Abram to Abraham, Jacob to Isaac, Sarai to Sarah. He didn't change her name. He didn't change your identity. Wherever you are in your walk, God's not changing your name. He's not changing your identity. You are still the mom of these kids. That's who God gave you. So here's this next thing. I love this. This is actually a Christmas card that some nuns made in Dubuque, Iowa. It's called Oh Eve. Eve is on the left. Notice the snake, the serpent around her ankles. Yes. Notice that she's surrounded with the fruit and all the temptation. And there's Mary. And Mary's like, I'm pregnant with Jesus.
Wow.
I'm pregnant with Jesus. in those dark times, the thing that's always going to pull you through is Jesus. And in this poem it says, "O Eve, my mother, my daughter, life-giving Eve, don't be ashamed, do not grieve. The former things have passed away. Our God has brought us to a new day. See, I am with child, through whom all will be reconciled. O Eve, my sister, my friend, we will rejoice together forever, life without end." And it says from the Sisters of the Mississippi Abbey, Dubuque, Iowa, and the artwork is by Sister Grace Remington. It's a Christmas card. Wow. That's an amazing Christmas card to me. But it's a Christmas card. God says, "I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness." But I love this because it shows that God is going to reach back and fill your broken places. Amen. He's going to reach back and give you your hope. He's going to reach back and give you your courage. He's going to reach back and give you your insight. He's going to reach back and give you all that you need because you have Jesus. And who is Jesus? Jesus is everything. He is our hope. He is our Emmanuel. He is our Savior. He is our guide. He is our friend. He is everything to us. And because we have Jesus, we have access of being this to this moment. So the next thing I want you to remember is that God is always working His good. You know, God's in this. He's doing this. You're working. He's working with the big picture. This is the long game. You know, raising a human is hard and it takes a long time. Okay, my mama is 88 years old. She is still mama me. She's still being a mama to me, which is great. And sometimes kind of is like, Mom, I'm like almost 60. Okay. Moms are moms. A legacy takes a long time to build. God is always working. In 2 Peter 3:8 says, "But you must not forget this one thing, dear friends. A day is like 1,000 years to the Lord, and the Lord is like 1,000 years to the day." We think that it's like, oh my gosh, this is taking forever. And God's like, I just barely winked. He's in it for the long haul. Lamentations 3 says, "Great is His faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh every morning." So God is always working His good. There's no quitting. No quitting. I know we want to quit. I know we want to go to our rooms. I know we eat. I know we do all these things. There's no quitting. There's no quitting. Because hearts and souls are looking at you. And I'm going to say this to the moms that have middle school and teenagers. It's going to take everything that you have and then more. And the times that you're probably tempted to quit the most is that stage. Because now you're living with your non-Christian children and they're not as warm and fuzzy and cute. And they haven't figured out how to give back to you yet. It's not personal to you. It just happens to be personal to you because they're yours. But it's not a personal attack against you. It just happens to be God's growing them up. But there's no quitting. The moms that I've seen that have probably hurt their kids the most is when they stop in this season of being, when you have your middle school, your high school, and your college. They just give up. And that's the time when your kids are really very, very smart. And they're like, well, my parents aren't doing that. My mom's not doing that. Did you hear that what Jasiri and Kiara said last night? I'd see my mom praying. I'd see my mom. I know my mom was always persevering. I know my mom's always going to do what's right. You don't have to be, you got to keep doing your part. You don't get all these extra points of being the perfect mom. Right? But you get God points because we're all striving to have an increasing love and joy and patience and kindness and gentleness and self-control and humility and grace and forgiveness and all those things. And then you get up the next day and you do it again. You do it again. Take a nap, pray, call someone, walk away. There was this commercial many years ago, I don't know, and it's funny, I don't watch a lot of shows, but I love commercials. It's pretty much the attention span that I have is commercials. But there was this IKEA commercial and it shows this house and these 3, 4, I don't know, a bunch of kids just running havoc all over the house and screaming and throwing things and blah, blah, blah. And the mom comes out and she goes, "Somebody needs a timeout." And then she goes in her room and she takes the bath. It's my favorite commercial because I'm like, sometimes you just need to step with like, "Somebody needs a timeout." I need a timeout. I am not well. I am not well. And, you learn to say things like, "Thank you so much for bringing that up. Can we talk about that at a different time? Maybe we talk about that a little bit later on today. I don't know if I can quite respond to that quite well. or you get some. One of my daughters, I never understood the term of bursting into tears until she was of the age to burst into tears. I never understood that. But literally, we would be talking, and then she'd burst into tears. I was like, what is that? Literally, what was that? Okay. And she had a lot of feelings. And so it would take me sometimes a moment to kind of get up next to her because she had lots of feelings and she wanted nothing to do with me. So I would just sit there for a moment. I'd try to hug her. No. It's not good. Sit on the couch. We're going to work it out. We're going to work it out. And then I'd know when she was ready for me to have a conversation because I'd reach out and touch her again and then she'd kind of go, okay. My other daughter, I don't share names because we don't share the guilty. We don't share stuff. My other daughter is a huge verbal processor. Huge. So we would have lots and lots of long conversations about many, many things, and she's very methodical about it. So it wasn't like a stream of consciousness. It was like, I just have a few more things, Mom. I'm like, awesome. 45 minutes later, I just have one more thing. The other daughter would come in and she goes, are you still talking? I'm like, we are. We're still talking. I mean, it just was, but God helps you through those hard days, those hard seasons. He's always working his good. He loves your kids way more than you do. And when my girls hit that hard season, I had to remind myself, like, God, you love them way more than I do. You created them. You know their strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes your kids are like you, and that's great until you realize, like, oh, it's not great that they're like me. Yeah. A lot of times they're opposites, and you're like, they're opposite of me. This is going to be, oh, no, this isn't good either. So God's taking you both through all these seasons at the same time, but He's always working His good. His goal is always to get their hearts back to Him. And He uses you to be able to do that. Okay, last thing. Remember to give a mama a high five. All right. What I know is that a lot of times being a mom is kind of invisible. People don't see you getting up in the morning. They don't see the prayers. They don't see the special cereal that you got them that they don't like anymore. I thought you liked that. What was your favorite last week? They don't see the time that you make to make a special outfit or do them or take them someplace really great, and then you get there and it's really less than desirable for all people involved. But remember, see, I'm talking some extreme things, but it circles back around. I have a beautiful time with my girls right now. I have a beautiful time with them. They love me. They love coming over. They're going to want to spend the night. We have food. They have a puppy. We love the puppy. We love everything. We are all together doing this. But this idea of giving mama a high five. You are strong, you are brave, you are vulnerable, you are creative, you are channeling as much God good as you possibly can on a given day. That's what you're doing. And realizing that the woman sitting next to you is doing the same thing. She's just as tired as you are. Or she's just as like, I don't know. You celebrate every stinking victory that you guys have. My kid went to bed on time. Yes! This is amazing! There was no biting in Kids Kingdom. That's awesome. And here's the other thing. I do circle back, particularly. Okay, my kids are old, so the little stage is very, very long time ago for me. I just know they were hungry. I was up late. I know. But that middle school and teenage years is kind of complicated. So, they don't really, those kids don't really know how to say hi. They barely say hi to you, much less other people. So if a middle school or teenage person says hi to me, I circle back to that mom and I'm like, your kid said hi to me today. I'm like, really? But we know this, right? It's one small seed. A seed takes a long time to grow into an oak. It takes years. But you're watering it and you're nurturing it and you're doing all these things every single day to keep that soil good. to keep that soil good. So the idea of giving another mama a high five, it just encourages, like, we're in this together. You know, a couple of weeks ago at church, I met this young mom she was outside in the courtyard, and she had this adorable little, I don't know, tiny kid, maybe 6 months or something. And the kid was, you know, dressed to the nines. Cute little girl. Little hat, little leopard thing, you know, just adorable. Mom looked good too, because I'm like, oh, mom's got on makeup and she's got a baby. I'm like, you did so well, Mama, way to go. And she's like, I know, right? I just met her. But it reminded me of, you gotta catch a mama doing good. You gotta catch a mama doing good. We certainly catch each other doing bad. We certainly catch each other doing bad. I feel like I need to do better in terms of letting a mama know when she's doing good. So last thing, older mamas. I want you to grab a younger mama's hand. I want you to be willing and available. Don't let your regret, your fatigue, and your busyness stop you from reaching back and grabbing a younger mama. You know what it's like. Older mamas, younger mamas. I get confused. Younger mamas. I want you to reach up and grab an older mama's hand. I don't want you to let your insecurities and your fears and I think I know best and all the new plans that are out. There's so many new plans about raising children. Bible still works, people. Bible still works. Just saying. Grab an older mama's hand. Don't let your fatigue and your busyness and all those other things that you know get in your way that you're not able to learn something and grow. So mamas, I want you to remember that you are the Eve of your family. God works with you and through you, but He doesn't rest on you. You are doing something gloriously amazing. You are building the next generation. It gives me great joy when I see Tori and Kennedy serving and helping people. I'm kind of in awe. They can study the Bible with people. They have people over in their home. They serve in the worship. They help with the teens. Like, that's my younger daughter who served in the worship and helped the team. She's back home with us now. But I'm just amazed that they have this heart for God. It's not like God didn't do His part, and it's not like I haven't seen it before, but it's just kind of still a miracle in my home. And I'm like, thank you, God. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. But thank you, God, for that. You are building the next generation. You have this honor, this gift, and this joy. So I want you to celebrate your joys. I want you to remember that God will walk with you through the hard seasons. God is always good. Remember to give my mama a high five. I love you, mamas. God's grace and peace to you.